Good morning, Taboo Listeners. It's Ashley Rodriguez here. Fashionably late. I'm not gonna lie. I was tiny bit hooked on watching my Ghost Adventures season last night, and so I did not record. And then I was scared, so I did not come in here and record. I just went to sleep, okay? I watched my Ghost Adventures and I went to sleep. I'm sorry. Hate me. It's okay. But I did want to get on here today and talk about something that is killing me. It's driving me literally insane, okay? This is going to be a very personal episode. I'm going to talk a lot about my family. I won't name drop. I am going to talk a lot about my family and just some things that I'm not understanding. Like, I understand it on a social level. But I'm not understanding. I don't have any sympathy for people that are struggling with substance abuse. And I think that comes from a place, long story short, I have a long family history of substance abuse. And this is alcohol, this is drugs of all kinds that you can think of. And so, yeah, I guess because growing up with it, I've developed the smallest amount of tolerance for it, and this woe is me, and this attitude of, the world is against you. I don't have the sympathy for it. I don't have the tolerance for it. I am so terrified that if my daughter grows up and gives in to these kind of pressures and these kind of substances, then of course, I can only imagine how tough it would be for me then, being somebody that doesn't have the tolerance or the sensitivity for it, I guess. But I just don't get it. Okay, so I did grow up and I had access to a lot of these substances, and definitely could have easily been put on a path of a substance abuser. And I chose differently. It's hard, guys. It's hard for me to sit up here and talk about this because on one hand, I feel like I'm being super judgmental. On the other hand, I just don't have, like I said, the tolerance for it. So people get stuck in this woe is me attitude, and they're so confused why they constantly end up in jail, why they're constantly not catching a break in life, why, they can't get a head up or a head start on things or get ahead, and people wonder these things, but then they're not looking around at the people that they surround themselves with. And this is so cliche, surround yourself with the people you want to be like, but it is so true. I have some of the most amazing friends and support, and a lot of those I've gained from the military, where we have to live a certain lifestyle, but there's bad apples in the military too. There's people in the military that can't get their lives together. Trust me, the uniform does not make a person a decent person. It just makes them a shitty person in a uniform. So they're out there. But I have had the ability to make some of the most amazing friends, and I can sit here 100% and say that I was on a path and I had the absolute ability to give in to drugs and alcohol abuse. And, I'm not made of money. I don't have a ton of money. I am not wealthy. I'm not rich, but I'm very passionate and very adamant about enjoying and living this life, and I don't want to do that in a daze. Recreationally is one thing. I'm not talking about the recreational use of natural substances that have been around for hundreds of years. I'm all for holistic therapies and holistic recreational use of certain substances if that's what you choose to do. I'm talking about these hardcore street drugs and alcohol that completely destroys families. And the only thing I can equate it to, I do understand in some capacity why people are like slaves to these things, I have a serious love affair with chocolate. It sounds freaking ridiculous. But every time I tell myself, oh, I'm not going to eat it, I eat it. The only difference is it's not destroying my family. It's not completely destroying my health because I do eat it in moderation. It's not completely wiping me out of my finances and putting me in this horrible worldly predicament. So even in that sense, like, it's still not that bad. I just really don't understand, guys. Please help me understand just substance abuse. The only thing I can think of is these people do not want to help themselves. And again, I say that from a place of I've watched my family my entire life growing up struggle with these same things over and over again and not care about their children, enough to stop, or not care about their own life enough to stop. And if you're out there and you feel like, woe is me, oh, I can never get a break, oh, every time I'm doing something else goes wrong, and this whole woe is life attitude drives me insane. Oh, gross, that was a huge sneeze. But, whew. And we're not even going to edit that out because let's just be real here. So this whole woe is me attitude drives me insane because literally you can create your life. It may not be exactly the life that you want, but you can make steps to get there. And if you're not, and if you want to look at the world as against you, then you're already putting yourself at a disadvantage. Now, it's like I said, I'm not rich, I'm not wealthy, I'm not this creator of something amazing, that's like amping me up in life, but I know what I want my life to look like. I know what I want my life to look like, and it doesn't involve being a slave to substances that are going to destroy my family and destroy my life. And that is the problem. We have this issue. I don't know if it's generational. I don't know if it's just, where we're at as a society right now. But we have this extremely selfish society that, like, we're stuck in the past. Look at history, learn from it, don't repeat it if it didn't work, but don't live in the past. Like, you should not be feeling hurt by something and letting it dictate your life by something that your ancestors went through. Of course, it's sad. Some of the things that our country and other countries have gone through are horrendous. Make sure that you don't repeat that. Make sure that you don't fall victim to that stuff again, of course. But don't live this bitter life because of a hardship that somebody else had to go through. And I say that because we're human. And again, being so far from home and having to build relationships outside of my family, I've learned very much that family is not always blood. Family is sometimes who you make, who you create your family to be. And it doesn't always have to be blood. And so no, I'm Filipino, Native American mixed, and my Native American ancestors went through hell. They were raped and pillaged, and their land was completely taken, and they were painted to be savages. The Filipino side of me, you guys, if you want to look up the history, the Filipinos had to do an extremely long march in which many of them did not survive, and they were in some form of slavery there. So this is all over the place. Slavery was a form of labor. The only difference now is we pay a very small amount to people that are possibly here illegally because it's the cheapest way to get things done without being accused of having somebody in slavery. So I have a lot of opinions on that. But I'm going to get back to this woes me and the surrounding yourself with people that you want to be like, because it is absolutely true. And this includes family. I think a lot of people allow their family members to bludgeon them and hold them down and continue this cycle of negativity and abuse of any kind. I'm here to tell you today that just because you're related by blood or even by marriage or in some capacity considered family does not mean that you have to continue to associate with these people. The way I look at it is that we are all human beings. We are all human beings. And yes, some you have a tighter connection with than others. But if somebody is causing harm to your life or not helping elevate you in a way that you want to be elevated, in the way that you want to elevate yourself, you need to cut those ties. Maybe not permanently, but they need to be cut so that you can really be who you need to be and who you want to create yourself to be. And I say this very seriously because I've heard time and time again, oh, but it's family. Oh, this and I don't care. I don't care if it's family. And I'm speaking for myself. And my mother and I have gone through this a lot. And thankfully, we are very, very close. But we have gotten into some circumstances where I really was ready to cut ties. And it sucks to say because I love her and I'm so close to her. But again, you really just have to decide spiritually and just on a connection level who you want to be associated with. Are you being elevated? Are you elevating that person? Are you guys on the same path? And it doesn't mean that you have to have the same views. That's another misconception that people are living, is that if somebody doesn't agree with you, then they're against you. And that is absolutely ridiculous. If you find somebody that believes everything that you believe to a T, and you are exactly the same in your thoughts and your spirituality and your human nature, you need to run. You need to run because that person is not going to challenge you. That person is not going to build and help build you up to be a better person. That person is designed to keep you right where you are and not grow. And again, I'm not saying that you have to completely remove people from your life, but just limit the amount that you spend with them, the amount of time, the amount of effort, the amount of influence that they have in your life. And if you think that the people you hang out with and you associate yourself with on a constant basis are not influencing you or are not changing the direction of your life, you are wrong. You are wrong. It is human nature. It's psychology that the more you spend time with somebody, the more you become like them and you become like each other and you grow into this almost like one being of a person when you're together. And there's a reason for that. And there's a reason that humans crave connection with other humans. We're designed this way to sharpen each other and to grow. And so I say this for those of you that are struggling with some sort of like negative bias about life, or if you know somebody that is, you seriously need to consider, and they need to consider who they're surrounding themselves with. I would not be where I'm at today if I wasn't fortunate enough to make the friends that I've made and surround myself with people that care about where I'm going and my benefit and are seriously interested in helping me become a better person, and vice versa. Finding a select group of people that you can pour yourself into and they can pour into you and you're growing. I say this because I've seen so many times, especially within my own family, that they just cannot get out of this cycle of being broke and like lost in life and jail and drugs and drama and violence. It's so sad. I'm talking like even as of yesterday. And I won't go too deep into the scenario because it's not really my business to put out there, but I had the biggest light bulb effect of why there are so many domestic violences and shootings. And it comes down to people's maturity level and the people they're surrounding themselves with. If you surround yourself with people that are saying, oh yeah, let's go beat this ass, let's go, make them pay for this and that, and I'm gonna go make them take care of that, and oh, pull up to my house, I'm gonna get you, blah, blah. That is the most ignorant, childish, violent way you could portray live your life. Like, that is so unnecessary. If somebody pisses you off that bad, be done with them. Don't let your ego get to you and be like, oh, I gotta get them and this and that. That's how your ass is gonna get shot. That's how you're gonna get taken to jail. That's why our jails are so full. Like, let it go, move on, surround yourself with better people. I'm so sick of seeing these people like get pulled into this lifestyle of just childishness and like ignorance. They can't even, like, you're not successful, and I wonder why. That is why, because you're not surrounding yourself with people that are going to help elevate you and build you up. And I don't want to hear that it's where you came from. I don't want to hear that, because it's not. We are in a society where it's very easy to travel and move somewhere else. And if you're not willing to do that for whatever reason that you can come up with, that's on you. So when you end up in jail, when you end up on drugs, when your kids and your family is all out there in this bad cycle of life and you can't defeat it, look at where you're at and just be real with yourself. I grew up in Jacksonville, Florida, which is now surprisingly considered the murder state of Florida. And I don't have these excuses. I could have been there doing the same thing that those people are doing. And it's not all of them. It's a very select group of people that are doing the drugs, that are supposedly in these gangs. Guys, come on. We are, like, this is getting ridiculous. Like, I have no tolerance for gangs. I don't. If you're in prison and you gotta survive, do your thing, I guess. But look at what got you in prison in the first place. And I think this is why I'm so passionate about youth, and this is why I want to foster, and this is why I want to help develop youth programs and get in there, because it starts with our youth, and it's to no fault of their own that they were abandoned and forgotten, or that their parents did drugs or went to jail, or whatever the reason is. It starts with our youth. It starts with our youth and giving them options and giving them the ability to make a difference in life and their life, and not continue this cycle. I'm telling you, if one person can do it, everybody can do it. You just have to have the heart and the right people around you. And it's really hard for me because I'm very, very vocal and opinionated about these kind of things, but it's just the truth, and it's the truth that I see, that if you can't get a break in life, you need to look at the people around you that are probably taking that chance away from you. And maybe it's not the people around you. Maybe it's you. Maybe you need to fix yourself so that other people can be associated with you, you know? Like, so it's not always everybody else, but there's a lot of self-responsibility you have to take too. And I've had to learn that, and I'm still learning it. I'm not perfect, but there is a degree of self-responsibility that you have to have for yourself and for your life. And maybe one day we'll see this world change little by little. Our society is extremely divided right now. And I say all this basically to say grow up. Grow up. Find a better group of people to associate yourself with. Stop falling into this cycle of violence and drug abuse, and you are destroying your life one by one. And regardless of what you believe is on the other side, when your eyes close permanently on this side of the earth, like, is this the legacy you want to leave behind? Is this what you want to be known for? This is sad. It is so sad to me. And guys, I'm not any better. Like, I have my demons. I struggle. But I don't let that dictate my life because of the people I surround myself with and the way that I pour into self-growth and self-development and taking away those nasty parts of me and trying to build on other parts of me. Like, it's a process. It is a daily process. And I do this especially because I have a child now that looks up to me, but also for myself. I don't want to turn 30 one day and look back and wonder what I did with my life in my youth. Not that 30 is old, because it's not, but I'm saying, like, this young 20s something where I had no idea who I was, and you know, I'm kind of coming into this grown woman now. I have my family now, and I have my friends, and things are really changing. And that's why I'm so adamant about this and wanting to share this with you guys, because I have the personal experience having grown up with it and having seen it so much. And I don't feel bad, because we need to have some self-accountability, some responsibility for ourselves and the people that we associate with and the things in life that we associate with. And if you're looking around and you feel like you can't catch a break, then you need to reevaluate where you are and why you're there. And that's all I have to say. Grow up, stop the violence, stop this ridiculousness. If you're in a gang, you can find a better group of friends or a place to be accepted that doesn't involve killing people or robbing people or creating violence. Spiritually get yourself wherever you believe you fit and where you need to be. Get yourself right. It's complex. It's difficult because we're constantly dealing with our flesh, but you got to deal with yourself and deal with the people around you and get where you're trying to be in life. That's all I have to say. So this was not supposed to be some like negative thing, but I just had to put it out there because I just was so overwhelmed with just my lack of tolerance that I had, and I needed to share that with you guys. I hope that you can relate. I hope that you don't find offense to this, but that you find some sort of awakening, or some sort of truth. Or if you feel differently, then, let me hear about that too. But that's just where I'm at. So this is Ashley Rodriguez. This is another episode of Taboo Talks. Thanks for listening to me go on and on about this craziness. But it needs to be said, and people are saying it, but people just don't address it certain ways. Some people are too soft, some people are too harsh, but that's just where we're at. Everybody has something to say nowadays. So thanks again for listening. I'll see you guys next week.